I want to start today by saying a huge thank you to everyone who's done a reading today and brought us the Christmas story, the real Christmas story from the Bible. Also to all those who've done Christmas carols, whether that's individuals or as families. It has been brilliant just to spend some time singing carols together. You know, one of the things that's really struck me this year about the Christmas story is just how busy that first Christmas really was. You know, we know the story about there being no room at the inn, but actually when we stop and think about that, there must have been crowds of people everywhere. There was no room for Mary and Joseph. There was just people everywhere. Every room was taken. People, crowds of people were travelling from all over to come to Bethlehem, just like Mary and Joseph. It was busy. And that's what Luke chapter 2 verse 7 says, and we had it in our reading today. There was no room at the inn. There was people everywhere. It was busy. It was noisy. I imagine even the stable or cattle shed or wherever it was that Jesus was born, it was probably really busy with animals as well, and it would have been noisy. And that's really struck me this year. And the main reason that has struck me maybe more than ever before is because it's such a contrast to our Christmas this year. Our, if you like, socially distanced Christmas. I mean, these two words we never thought would become so commonplace. And we're so sick of hearing them, socially distanced. It's a socially distanced Christmas. It's a quieter than normal Christmas. It's hopefully less busy. We're being told we've got to meet. If we're going to meet, make sure it's in small groups. I even had a laugh the other day when the news was saying, you know, it was almost like the government was backtracking a little bit on the announcement that we could meet up as 3 households, and they were kind of backtracking and saying, if possible, meet outside. And I had a smile to myself because I was thinking, yeah, eating turkey outside in Scotland at the end of December, that sounds really appealing. But I mean, I understand the message, of course, but it's just a different Christmas this year. It's quieter, it's less crowded. Now, I am sat here today next to my Christmas tree. And actually, there's a good reason why I'm sat next to the Christmas tree, and it's because I have a question for you. And my question is this: what is the most important part of your Christmas tree? What's the most important part of your Christmas tree? Now, there could be lots of different answers to that. Maybe for you, the most important part is the lights. You have to make sure the lights are the right colour. You have to make sure there's enough lights on there. You have to make sure the lights are bright enough. Maybe for you, the most important part is the lights. Or maybe it's the decorations. The decorations just have to hang on exactly the right branch of the tree. Or maybe we're quite nostalgic and we have exactly the same decorations on our tree every single year. And there might be sentimental reasons as to why we've got the decorations we've got. But maybe for you, the most important part of your tree is the decorations. Or perhaps it might just be the star on top. That's the most important part for you, is the star on top, and it's got to sit straight and it's got to be at the right angle and it's got to be just not too heavy that it tips or leans. Maybe it's the star. Maybe for you, it's the day that you have to put your tree up. I don't know. But actually, I think the real answer to that question, probably, if we think about it for all of us, is a part of the Christmas tree that we never see. It's a part of the Christmas tree, actually, that we go out of our way to hide. I think the most important part of any Christmas tree, including mine, is the stand. You see, if our Christmas trees were not on that stand, they would tilt, they would maybe even slide and topple right over, they would wobble a bit. If we don't have a good stand to put our tree on, then the rest of it, no matter how pretty the tree looks, what colour the decorations are, no matter about any of these things, if we don't have the right stand, the tree is useless. And the reason that the stand is so important is that it gives a good foundation to the tree. It stops the tree from falling over, yet most of the time we never see it, apart from when we're putting the tree on it, then we hide it. And most of the time we never even think about it. So I think the answer to that question is, what's the most important part of the Christmas tree? I think it's the stand. And as I think about that, I'm reminded that for all of us, much of the time, if we are not careful, Christmas can be so consumed with what is urgent that if we're not careful, we can miss what is truly significant. You see, we're so focused on the urgent things, the things that have to be done, that have to be done quickly, that have to be done. There's a big, massive list and we've got to tick the list off and we've got to make sure this is done by Christmas, that is done by Christmas. We get the tree up, it gets put up on the right day, we buy the presents, make sure that nobody's missed out, make sure we've got enough, make sure there's presents everywhere. We're so consumed sometimes with organising the urgent things like the meal. Now maybe this year that's a little bit easier because there's not going to be as many people at our Christmas tables, but we've still got to make sure we've got the right turkey or the right ham or the right whatever else we might have for our Christmas meal. And it's just that we can get consumed with these things that are urgent. Get the Christmas cards written, make sure they're posted on time, make sure we've got all these urgent things done. And we're so caught up with the urgent that we miss the significant. You know, the part of the tree that's the most significant, as we've already said, is the stand. And the part of Christmas that is the most significant is that Jesus came to save us. Jesus came to save us. That's what is the significant part of Christmas. Jesus came to give us hope. Jesus came to give us light. Jesus came to give us peace, to give us joy, to bring us forgiveness. And hopefully this year, because it is quieter, hopefully this year because there is less of a crowd, hopefully this year we've got a little bit more time, and we'll make a little bit more time to focus more on what is significant and less on what we think is urgent. Because the truth is this, every single one of us is born not socially distanced from God, but distanced from God, with a relationship with God that is broken and that needs to be fixed. Our sins, the things that we do, say, or even think that are wrong, these make a distance between ourselves and our Creator, God. And Jesus came, and this is the message of Christmas. Jesus came, he was born and put in a manger as a baby. The wise men visited him, the shepherds visited him. Mary was his mum, Joseph was his father. All these things we know are true, but he came because he had a mission, and that mission was to restore our relationship with God. That distance between ourselves and God, he came to take the distance away and restore that relationship. Jesus was born into a crowd. We've already looked at that today. It was busy. It was crowded. And he desires to bring the biggest crowd possible back to God. All of us that are born with this distance and this broken relationship, Jesus, his desire is that we will respond to the message of Christmas and that we will be brought back into relationship with God. And we can do that today. We can do that right now. We can say, God, I accept your gift of forgiveness, which will restore my relationship with you. Your gift, which is possible because of Jesus being born, dying on a cross, and then 3 days later being brought back to life, resurrecting from the dead, to allow us the opportunity to have that distance between ourselves and God completely made new. Taken away, the distance taken away, and our relationship with God made new. You can do that right now. And if you'd like to do that this Christmas, if you'd like to do that today, then why not right now? In the chat room, there will be a button that comes up that says raise hand. Press that button, and all you're doing today is in your heart, you're okay with your finger, you're pressing the button, but in your heart, you're saying, God, I'm distanced from you and I want to come back into relationship with you. And you're just acknowledging that you need to do that today. And if you hit that button, then we'll know someone's responded and we'll be praying for you right now. And if you want someone to pray just directly with you, you can then press the button that says request prayer. That will take you out of the chat room and into a private room where our ministry team will be able just to chat with you one-on-one online today and pray with you about this greatest decision that you have ever made. On this quieter Christmas, where it's less crowded and less busy, let's remember the significant. Let's not get caught up, as we always do, with the urgent things. Let's remember the significant, and let's thank Jesus today for all he's done for us. Even in this year, 2020, it's been a tough year, we still have a lot to thank God for. We're going to sing now our final carol together. This is a carol that we had for the very first time last week, and it's one that Matt Redman specially wrote for this year. And it's already, although we've only done it once as a church, so many people have already said how much they loved this carol. We're going to sing it together. So let's do that now as we thank God again for the true hope, light, joy, and peace of Christmas. Thanks for listening, and we hope that we'll see you again very, very soon. God bless.